Alright folks, Acid Roots here. Got another episode of Crash Team Racing to get forth, and yep, so basically I wasn't sure what stage was going to happen, but you'll find out pretty soon. It's the, I guess we can leave it to be seen, but so yeah, last time we did Cortex Castle. It was kind of a bastard, but it didn't take that long. It was actually kind of a shorter episode, and now I just have to figure out where exactly it is, and it is on the upper floor, so that's the reason why. So, what could it possibly be? There's Pinstripe. We'll get to him soon enough, but Hot Air Skyway. I thought it was Speed Skyway. I wasn't sure what it was. But yep, this stage is entirely in the air, which is probably the most perilous, one of the most perilous things you can do. I'm going to go ahead and call it like I see it and suppose that this is the stage that you have to race Pinstripe on. You can kind of tell this by Pinstripe being on the blimps, but I don't think it would be Cortex Castle or Engine Labs. And really, Oxide Station is probably where you have to race Nitrous Oxide, so that only leaves this stage left. So get good at this stage. If you don't like this stage, you're not in for a treat, because you're going to have to race on it a second time. But I mean, this is actually one of the stages I prefer more so than some of the other ones in Citadel City, just because it's the stage layouts about these stages. They always have like these turns that lead you to crash. That's like what happens. I mean, they have these twists and turns, and if you don't know the course, you crash into a wall, or you fall off the edge, or into the ice, or something like that. And they're just not very geometrical. So that's what you have to understand, and it's kind of... I know obviously a racing game's going to do that, but it feels like this game does it more so than other ones. Like, you know, for example, like in the Special Cup in Mario Kart 64, I mean, Yoshi Valley wasn't really that difficult once you figured it out. And like the Ghost House, the Ghost House course that was in Mario Kart 64 wasn't that bad either. But these they don't care. I mean, that's the thing about this game. It knows that you're gonna not understand what's coming, and it takes advantage of that. So, and you know, I've noticed that the computer players are not too terrible with these bowling bombs. And did you see that clock? That's like the first time I've gotten that clock in like the whole game. Maybe back in September in like episode 1 or 2 I never get that fucking clock, man. This kind of happens to be a thing. And I noticed something else. When you use that green shield, try to touch your opponents, because that's just like an easy hit to get them out of the way. It's a barrier, but it's also kind of like a bomb at the same time. So if someone's right up on your ass or something, you can knock them out of the way. But I think that's one of the few things that if they get hit by the explosion, you won't. So I would pay attention. But yeah, I haven't used that clock, and that's pretty much one of the most useful items in the game, but I think that's probably like the least frequent item that you'll get. I mean, you have to be basically in dead last. So that's like the lightning bolt from Mario Kart. So but yeah, I'm just kind of, I don't know. I almost feel like ordering pizza. I'm not actually going to, but it would be interesting to just randomly do that. I need to do that sort of thing. I need to just call Pizza Hut or something and say like, yeah, I need a fucking pizza. Maybe that would be ideal, you know? Be a little bit braver and just decide to randomly order a pizza or something. But maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow or something, but man, the way my household works, we're so used to just ordering it ourselves, but if I felt so inclined, I could hit them up and have something be delivered here and have a nice good snack for the next good while. This makes me wonder if they'd want to do it amongst COVID times, but it's really been, I think the last time I ordered a pizza and had them bring it to my house was probably back in 2019. I remember I did a video on acidic roots about that, but it's probably been 2 years. I didn't do it in COVID times. I didn't expect anyone to, you know, work during a pandemic where there's no vaccine to just come to my house and give me a pizza. So I didn't do it in 2020, and I just don't remember doing it at all this year either. But maybe I will. I don't know. And if some of you leave comments one day, I mean, don't hope for something like, don't get your hopes up if you see this video like 2-3 years from now and you say, did you ever get that pizza? It's probably not going to be a very bountiful hope. So, but yeah, so this stage is decent. Like I said, it's one of my more preferred stages thus far. It'll be interesting to see what Oxide Station winds up being like. And I try to use these masks like a lot. I mean, it's one of the most useful items you can have, just because I try to knock these racers off the course, but even that doesn't seem to really take them out of commission for very long. That is kind of the thing there. But, I mean, some of these racers are just bastards. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, really using Crash Bandicoot, you have to understand that he's basic. He doesn't have any weaknesses, but he also doesn't have any real strengths. He's kind of like, you know, the balanced main character that you wind up using. But I just picked him just because I don't really... I didn't want to pick one of the bigger cats like Tiny or Dingo Dial. And I also didn't want to pick one of the smaller, faster acceleration ones like Coco or the Polar Bear. So, really, most of them are acceleration ones. It's kind of the thing. Coco, the Polar Bear, and the Tiger. And there's another racer I'm forgetting about. I think it's Engine. I think he's kind of a lightweight too. But Cortex and Crash Bandicoot are balanced, which is interesting for the villain to be balanced, just because there's no Luigi. You know, Crash Bandicoot doesn't have any close association. So, I mean, apart from Coco, but you get the idea. So, yeah, the stages, I mean, I give it credit just because there really weren't too many stages in the air like this. I think this is one of the first real, like, games like Mario Kart 64. I mean, they did them a bunch on the PS2, obviously. A bunch of Mario Kart clones, that sort of stuff. But this was basically the first one, apart from, like, Mario or Sonic, I would say, for the most part, that really did this sort of thing. I mean, I wouldn't know for certain because I haven't played that many kart racing games like this, but that's just what it seems like. So, which is good. I mean, this paved the way, and it is a good game. I mean, if this game would have come out for the Nintendo 64, I'd probably give it a 7, just because the more I look at it, the more I feel like Mario Kart 64 is the better game. But it is still it's excellent for the PS1. It's one of the best games for it, and it's definitely one of the best racing games. I mean, if you're looking for something realistic, I'd pick like Gran Turismo. I mean, those games are, of course, pretty stellar, but you have to know your way around, like, locomotives. I think that's the correct word. I think cars are locomotives. I don't know if that's trains. I don't know if I just sound like an idiot right now, but I think locomotives, it means cars and trucks and Jeeps and that sort of shit. You know, automobiles would probably be the better term for it, but yeah, that's just essentially the thing. But I probably should eventually do a game like Gran Turismo, but I just think it's just tough. I mean, really, the realism really sets in. I mean, that's really for folks who, you know, have a different setting. They're not into the fantasy and comic mischief type stuff. So that's the thing about the PlayStation 1, is it was such a big machine that it had audiences of all kinds. You could have had someone who's been in the military for like 14, 16 years who had one. You could have had someone who's trying to be a cop or a firefighter who played the PlayStation. Someone who is just in fast food. You know, someone who is, I mean, you get the idea. Someone who likes, like, you know, karate and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, there's just plenty of that. The Nintendo 64, I mean, not to talk about that too much, but that was not so much like that, you know, but you get the idea. It was just good. You know, something for everyone, basically. But this is a good game. You know, it's definitely the thing, is it is a good game. But just pisses me off rather often. I was kind of, maybe not raging, but just complaining more than I normally do. But I do like this game. This comes down to the fact that I'm just like, damn, you know. I just feel like the difficulty should be like other racing games, and it's just a little bit edgier. That's the whole thing about it. They just took the difficulty and kicked it up 1 or 2 notches, probably 2. This is what you have to pay attention to. So, I mean, another racing game that's pretty tough is F-Zero. I mean, maybe not the F-Zero X, but the one for like the GameCube. If you happen to have played that one, is pretty much a bastard. And I really don't like tough racing games because it kind of defeats the purpose of it. Just because, I mean, I know some folks out there want a challenge, but racing games can piss you off that much more because the difference between getting first and second place is all it takes. I mean, you don't get credit for... The game does not reward you for getting second place. I mean, in like different racing games, you can get a score that adds up, but you're not really rewarded for doing the second best. The primary idea is to win, like take home the gold. That's kind of the concept between it, but this game just doesn't care. I mean, if you get second, you're doing it over again, at least in adventure mode. In the Grand Prix, yeah, you've got some room to bicker, but really, the adventure mode, you have to win or you're just not gonna progress. And especially with the boss characters, there's not even any other racers in that. That would have been pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how many people have ever mentioned this, but if there would have been like the boss characters like henchmen or something, probably would have been annoying to race like, you know, a 3rd and 4th place racer that could hurt you or something, but it'd be interesting for future racing games to have like a boss character kind of have like some henchmen so you can actually get 3rd or 4th. I mean, I don't think it would detract from anything. I think you'd obviously have to win the race, but just to kind of add insult to injury type thing. But I don't know. It's kind of the thing. I know, like, the caution towards this sort of thing. I feel like that would be an extra way for developers to be vindictive towards you, is to say, hey, even the boss character's minion sat there and knocked you out, you know. But yeah, that was a bastard. The crate just knocked out my missile. That's if you're looking for like protocol for how to win this stage, use missiles. You definitely, if you get 3 missiles, you should be able to win as long as you save them for the end of the race, because there are physics in this game where you hit somebody and they will catch up with you, and you want to have missiles for right around the end of the race so you can hit them and they can't get back in front of you. That's about one of the few strategies, especially this late in the game. So you want to get the fruit, so you have 10 of them and you get the best items, and then you want to save your items for the 3rd lap unless you feel like you can get something better. That was the main reason why I kept restarting this, is because I'm getting like the beakers and the TNT crates, and I don't know why I need items to hit people behind me when I'm like in 5th and 6th place. I mean, there's 2 people behind me when I'm in 6th place. I don't need a beaker. It's just, the item placement's just not very smart, which is surprising. You know, you need like the clock. I mean, that item needs to make way more appearances when you're like in dead last or something. Not just when you're in 8th, but when you're in 6th, when you're in 5th, something like that, to where you can actually catch up and resume your victory. But so you're not going to see the finish of the race in this episode, but it's basically gonna bleed into episode 11 because it ran for longer than 15 minutes, but you'll see. And chances are, well, maybe Pinstripe will be in the next episode, but at least the next race. So, and we'll see what Oxide Station winds up being like. Alright folks, so subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night. And once again, I'll see you in part 11.